everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to take a look at a peculiar flashlight. Vape kit. The Preco One by Vzone, the same company that made the e-mask box mod, a box mod that I still love so much and I reviewed, and as a matter of fact you can check that review right here. So inside the box you will get the Preco Tank, which is kind of a rebranding of the disposable nouveau tank, and will come in a color matching the battery depending on which color you pick. The same tank that is also going to be available separately in packs of 3, because remember, the whole tank is disposable. Instead of disposing and replacing the coil head, with this one you dispose and replace the whole tank. Then you also get the Preco One battery that doubles as a flashlight, kind of, sort of, and here is the other color available, the black one. You also receive a spare plug for the top fill port on the tank, a quality control certificate, a good user manual with specs and instructions, and last but not least, a micro USB charging cable. So this kit comes with a weight around 88 grams and it measures 24 millimeters in diameter by 109 millimeters in height. They both come apart as they attach to each other using a 510 connector. The Preco Tank is pretty neat. It holds 3 ml of liquid in the international version, but 2 ml of liquid in the European one. And I think it's a rebrand of the nouveau tank, which was already out before. It is completely made out of plastic with the top/side fill port and an airflow adjustment that has the perfect amount of restriction. It has a stopper on both ends, and what you adjust on one side, you adjust the same exact thing on the other. On the bottom you can see how the coil is press fit inside of the tank. It is a mesh coil, not removable, not replaceable or anything. So it's a refillable and disposable tank, and you refill it till it doesn't taste good anymore, then you just dispose and replace it with a new one. As a matter of fact, here's the other one that I have been using for a week now. It is still performing good, but there's a little bit of seepage underneath, a bit of liquid appearing at the bottom, especially if you let it run low on your liquid. Never let it run with a liquid beneath the wicking slots inside. If you do so, you start to see liquid appearing on the bottom of the tank. Inside the tank you can clearly see the mesh coil and the wicking material, which must be just regular Japanese organic cotton, and the coil looks to be just a normal mesh coil, real mesh. But I'll probably pull one apart just to take a look at the coil, because it does look indeed like a real mesh coil. To fill it, you just have to remove the plug that covers the whole fill port. You can remove it entirely, the whole plug, but then you risk breaking it, as it is very easy to break it indeed. If you end up breaking it, remember they always supply you with extra plugs, also when you buy a new pack of 3. Once you're done filling it, you just have to close the plug, and especially when you fill a new tank for the first time, I do recommend that you let it soak and sit for around 5 minutes or so, because remember, the coil and wick is so deep inside the tank that makes it so difficult to prime from the inside. The battery/tube/stick mod is also pretty neat and unique. On one side you have a wide and curved fire button, clicky even though a silent click. On the opposite side you are going to find the micro USB charging port. On the bottom some engravings and a single ventilation hole. But at the top, the very unique 510 connection made out of stainless steel with a gold-plated spring-loaded positive center pin and a bunch of LEDs all around. And what that does is, when you have the tank attached, because it is made out of clear plastic, it is going to bounce off the light through the tank and the liquid and make it glow. To turn the device on and off, 5 clicks of the fire button. So literally to turn it off, you just press the fire button 5 times, and to turn it back on, you just have to press the fire button 5 times as well. To check the battery level, very quickly press the button once. Green means between 40 and 100%, blue means between 10 and 40%, and red means below 10% all the way down to 0. When charging, the LED will also reflect the battery level and turn itself off once the battery is fully charged. Pressing the fire button 3 times will enable the colorful mode, which displays a random color every time you vape. Pressing it 3 times to disable, it will only light up the color matching the current battery status. If you click the fire button 4 times, you enable show mode, which literally displays a light show after 10 seconds of it being inactive. And it does so for a very long time, but always turns itself off after a few hours, or if you turn the device off. So it doesn't really stay on, it doesn't keep on draining the battery for a long time. It literally goes off after a few hours. I'm assuming between 1 to 2 hours. So that's right, that's the Preco kit, which comes in different flavors, colors, and doubles as a flashlight. But let's go back on top and see how it vapes. Pretty fancy indeed. Anyway, as far as performance, and as it is a direct output device, it will always depend on the resistance attached, and the output voltage will also decrease along with the discharge of the battery. Firing it, it provides a pulse width modulation signal. You can hear it. I don't know if you were able to hear. I actually fired the device very close to the microphone, but I can indeed hear the pulse width modulation signal, but you are not gonna feel that on the vape at all. You don't really feel the pulse width modulation because it's such a high frequency. And as far as delay, pretty much none. 18 milliseconds delay firing this device. The positive spring-loaded center pin on the 510 connector has a little bit less travel than the most common measured in devices by me, so some other atomizers you may want to use may gap. And as far as battery, it is a 1756 mAh capacity battery. It charges averaging 1.32 amps, and it takes 1 hour and 35 minutes to be fully charged. So the tank is nice, it vapes well, the flavor is good, but there's a catch. Because it is a 0.15 ohm coil inside the tank, when the battery is full, you actually get somewhere around the maximum recommended wattage of 60 watts, anywhere around 60 watts, which is where it vapes the best. But when the battery drops, the quality of the vape goes down a little bit, which isn't necessarily noticeable if you vape with a more close airflow, but more so noticeable when you vape with the airflow wide open. You do indeed notice that the quality of the vape does decrease along with the battery. Talking about airflow, the airflow is smooth but loud wide open, then more quiet but turbulent when you start to cut it down. And talking about the battery slash flashlight, I guess, it is really nice, small, convenient, pocket friendly, solid, and very well built. The LED and the whole idea of making the LEDs shine through the tank is actually pretty cool for those of you that like that kind of stuff, but there's really no option to turn the LEDs off when vaping, which is going to be a con, even though I do understand not giving the ability to turn the LEDs off, as they are the only indication lights that give feedback and battery status. There's really no LED behind the fire button or anything, so every single error, message, feedback, and the battery status is displayed by the LEDs. If you have the ability to shut the LEDs off, you're probably not gonna know whether or not you have the device off or how much battery you have left. Also, and just to finish, another con goes for how nasty the drip tip looks after you vape it. After a while, the drip tip looks really ugly because it's transparent. And my only concern with the tank is the same concern I shared before about these new disposable pod systems that you see now all over the place. Is the same exact concern I have with this tank. I get it, it is super convenient to just throw it away and get a new one, but it's going to be an issue for the environment. With all that said, this is actually a really nice kit, and if I was to rate it, I would give it a B, just because the performance decreases along with the discharge of the battery, especially using such a low ohm coil. It is going to be a lot more noticeable. But if you want 2 chances to score 2, you just have to be a subscriber of this channel. If you're not, you have to subscribe to this channel. You also have to like this video, comment something down below, and subscribe or be already subscribed to the newsletter on my website. I'm DJLSB Vapes, and I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, share with your friends, subscribe or stay subscribed to the channel. Also, if you want to support this channel and what I do, you can always do so on Patreon. Links are always in the description down below. Meanwhile, stay sexy and vape on.